All right, now, so what is Captain America's best piece of advice for people looking to start a small business?
You need to have absolute 100% passion for what you're doing, because if you're chasing a dollar, you're going to lose.
I like it. I like it.
It's pretty good. Hey, this is AMS LLC, AMSDynamics.com.
The Small Business Superhero Podcast.
That's right, Small Business Superhero Podcast. And today we're talking to the CEO of 360 Policing, DCruz.com.
Yeah, 360policing.com, right? Policing.com.
That's true. That's true.
There you go. And we're going to discuss today, for all you entrepreneurs that are listening, how he started his business, the struggles he had with his business, and the successes you've had with your business, right?
Oh, yeah. You got a little combination of everything.
Yeah.
That's
So
what it's all about.
So give us a good old introduction about yourself here.
So about a few years ago, I went ahead and decided to start an LLC for a law enforcement training company. I wanted to be able to deliver a higher premium value of training within the law enforcement profession. And the best way to do that, I felt, was to establish some kind of platform in order to deliver that type of service. So,
was there a hole in law enforcement training that you saw, that you observed? What we find is that a lot of people will see either this is missing out there or there's a better way to do this out there.
Right, and I think there was a little bit of both. Since I was in this profession, still am, for 2 decades, I saw that there's a huge gap in the training that's out there. Sometimes it's fly by the seat of your pants training, and it's not really backed up. Then you got some training that's so elite that no one can afford to go to. And so there's that middle ground that is really just was a hole. And that was kind of what I recognized. I thought that, well, this is an area that we really needed to deliver some solid service to help officers, to help people. That's really, and that's the key, is to find a service or a business model that looks to help individuals versus don't go in with the mindset of how much money can I make. You need to have the mindset of I want to make a difference and help people become better.
And that's a multi-layered service there too, because you're saying I want to help officers help people.
Yeah, yeah.
You help officers so that they can help people better.
That's it, and that's the key concept. I know, and one of the struggles that I even had and still do, because like I said, this is still a new process, is trying to figure out, how do you price your service? How do you find that price index that's appropriate for the service you're providing? Because you do have to make money. You got to pay the bills. I mean, as an LLC, there's permits. There's fees for permits. I have to pay for a liability insurance that costs money. You've got marketing that you have to pay because no one knows you exist. No one's coming to the classes, so there is overhead. So you have to have some type of price index, and it's hard to come up with that idea on how to properly price your product.
Now, when you said no one knows you exist, that is something that we have touched on several times in the podcast here. So the Small Business Superheroes, we do our best to help people who are starting them. And Patrick Hanlon's quote about it, he's the author of Primal Branding, and he said, the problem is not your product or service. You have a great product. You have a great service. The problem is no one cares. Yeah. And until you can develop people who care, no one's ever going to be partaking in your service or your product.
Absolutely. I have no idea who said this. This is not my quote, but I just from years ago, I remember, and someone told me, people do business with people. They don't do business with business. And so really what I take that to mean is no one wants to do business with 360 Policing. They want to do business with Derek Cruz because Derek Cruz is a relationship that they can build upon, and they can see that Derek is trying to make a difference.
Yep.
That's really, and like even the instructors that I have working with me as well, is I'm very selective on who is the face of 360. I want them to be doing business with people. And vice versa. And that's really what it's about, is you got to really put yourself out there, get to know people, and you have to have a sincere, heartfelt drive to help people. And if you're trying if all your thoughts is to make a profit, then no. Yeah,
not gonna
I
work.
really don't think you're going to make it.
Especially in the service, like when you're trying to provide service for people, Dave Ramsey says it all the time. You need to have a heart of a teacher, because it doesn't matter where you're going. If you go to your dentist and your dentist doesn't say anything to you and then just starts digging around in your mouth, there's a problem. But if the dentist is explaining, this is what we're doing and this is why we're doing. Same thing with your doctor, your accountant, your stock portfolio investment advisor. Anybody, the guy, remember in the 80s, you'd go to get shoes, and there was always the shoe guy, and he would sit there and he'd explain, okay, I'm going to use that device, and this is what it does, and this, the thing that looks like a football stadium. Well, nobody knows what it does, but the shoe guy does, and he teaches you.
That is gone. That
it is.
I forgot all about that. I would go, and they'd put the thing on me, measuring feet, and the guy would well, you walk on the insole or outsole. And now you just go and you sit down, this chair that has a mirror, and you do it yourself.
Now, let me remind you, so there is one place that you and I know about, and this falls right in line with what you're saying. So do you remember the time that one of our clients nearby, one of the clients that's nearby here, they expressed to us that they know somebody and they think they're having a hard time and might be thinking about hurting themselves. And they asked if we would go and talk to that person, and that person worked at a shoe place. Do you remember that?
Oh, goodness gracious. That was outside of our realm, but our background.
Yeah, but because of our background in de-escalation and they asked us to go and talk with this person. And so we went, and he was work at a shoe store. Yeah. And he's like the lone survivor. He's the last, he's an older guy, and he's the one left. And that's what he was doing. And we stood by for probably 45 minutes because he was helping those customers, and that's what he was doing. He had the gadget, the device, and he was teaching them. Right. So even at that stage, the heart of a teacher, teaching people about their own feet, about their own shoes, and a good fit. Any service that you have a heart of a teacher for, it's going to come out. And so if I'm understanding you correctly, when you pick your instructors, you're looking for that in a big way.
And I think as a small business owner, you have to be very selective on how your company's represented, and not to mention, I think that leads to a better product. I know even within this realm, or just saying providing services, I think the other key aspect is, if you can, depending on what kind of business you're looking at starting, try not to make it one and done. So one of the things that I do is, once you come and attend one of the courses that we teach, then as long as you're willing to provide me your email address, then I will be sending updated information that is always looking to help you become successful within your own profession.
And actually, let me throw this out there, because I am on that email address. You're not talking about marketing emails or spam. You're talking about, you go to one course and then you continue getting new information. This is the latest studies about this. This is new information about how effective this tactic or this technique is. Like, you're getting free information, free training, and additional value by going to one of the courses.
And the key is how, and once it goes, I'm getting ahead of myself, but the concept is, if you're truly concerned about someone, if you're truly wanting to make them a better person, or not to help them become a better person, then I think it's not just a one and done thing. It's how, once we make this relationship, let's maintain this relationship. Let's continue to help each other, throughout our course of within our profession. So I don't know how that might relate to other small business owners, but whatever your service is, build that customer client base and find ways to continue to help them.
Well, we've talked about it before, is that the goal is not to produce a satisfied customer. The goal is to produce a loyal member of your group.
I didn't think about it.
If you're a convenience store on the side of the highway, satisfied customer is good enough. They come in, they're satisfied. Price was good, product was good. I'm leaving. I'm never going to see you again. But that's not good enough for a service business. That's not good enough for a company that relies on repeat business and building trust. It's not to be a satisfied customer, one and done, like you said. It's to build a loyal member of your group. When you come to 360 policing, and you become a member, and you're getting into that, involved with that new information you're getting, and you have that dialogue and exchange, that trust is being built, you're becoming a member of something. It's very much like if your parents just sat you down for one conversation and then never guided you to ever again, you would not be the person that you are today.
Right.
If you had reasonably good parents, they taught you more than one thing.
True.
True. And so that's important, especially when you're talking about training and teaching. So now with the small business end of things, when you first began, we have lots of people out there right now listening who are thinking to themselves, I've got a great idea, but I'm scared. I don't know what to do. What was the biggest apprehension or obstacle that you had to overcome to get started?
It's for me personally, it was you have to get past worrying about what other people think.
Oh, now that's a good one.
I'm telling you, you have to get to the point to where it's like, this is what I'm doing, and I appreciate maybe your advice to help. You should honor, someone giving advice to help. But I'm kind of referring back to haters gonna hate. No one pays any attention to you if you're just like everybody else. But when you go to start getting outside the sheep, when you're different from the group, and you set yourself out from the rest, then there's going to be people that are like, oh, you must think you're this, you must think you're that, and then you really got to let that go, man.
It sounds like you met a lot of resistance initially.
So yes, it's where you get a lot of smart comments, or you'll get everybody. There's always a little bit of truth in joking, so your friends or your associates will joke with you, and you gotta. There's always that little bit of honesty within that joking realm. And so it's just, hey, you got to just be willing to put yourself out there. And I'll be the first to tell you. I mean, I have a hard time producing videos. I get kind of locked up when I'm in front of the camera. And the only way to get past that is to, forget, what others think. And do you, man. Do you.
The mad scientist here is a master at that. He had to coax me through a lot of that stuff. Yeah. And actually, we've had a conversation. We had a conversation today about the importance of letting the opinions being independent of the good opinions of others. Yeah. We had a conversation about that today, and we intellectually you can say it. Where it's if you want to offend no one, then do nothing, say nothing, and be nothing.
Yeah.
But it ends up being a platitude unless you find a way to actually live that in your life.
Right, and it's
easier
hard.
said than done.
It is easier said than done. There's no doubt about it. But I think for small business owners, especially if a lot of times I think small business owners are in the profession that they're going to branch out into. Just like my dad, he was in the trucking industry for years. And then he broke out into his own business. And so that was and I think that's what a lot of people do sometimes is they get to know the ins and outs of their particular service, and then they go, I can do it better. Mm-hmm. And they're like, let's go do it. And that's that mentality is you got to have is like, I'm going to give it a shot. And if I fail, guess what? At least I failed trying.
And that's one of the things we tell people all the time. So you got your idea, you overcame your fear, and a lot of times you'll talk yourself out of, well, there's other people that teach this. But I can teach it differently, or I can teach it better. Yeah. And so
you got to have a little bit of, you don't need to be cocky to the point where you're rude about it. But you got to know your business.
Yeah.
You got to know your service. And if you don't know your service, well, then your business will flunk. I'll just be honest about it. If Nike doesn't know how to make shoes, they're probably not going to. So you got to have a good product.
Yeah.
So I think you got to know your product. You got to know what you're doing with your product. But then, like I said, you got to do relationship building because people do business with people. They don't do business with business.
Well, people want to be a member of something. They want to participate in a group that they can count on, that they can be a part of, and that they can feel like there are things that are unique to that group, and now they're a member of it. So those things are unique about them. Yeah. When you talk about you and I were talking about, the three of us were talking about emotional labeling earlier, and how that can be a part of a conversation that really helps to kind of grease the skids for a conversation that could have gone a negative direction, but now it can go a more positive direction. When you have people who understand that concept and you can speak about that openly and kind of develop your skills together, that's a different feeling than if you walk into a room where nobody understands.
Yeah.
Very similar to what you're talking about with you walk into a room and say, well, I'm going to start a small business, but everyone there is a part of the W-2, I'm an employee, I like my check on Friday crowd. Right. It can be difficult to have that conversation.
Yes.
But if you were in a room full of entrepreneurs that understood you, it'd be a very different conversation.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. So, but no, I think that's the biggest thing. It's hard to find that proper pricing for your business, and it's also hard to understand sometimes how to get the word out there, so to speak. So I think you've got to find a way to market yourself. But at the end of the day, my biggest advice would be if you try to chase the dollar, then I think you will fail. But if you're trying if you're having a true passion of wanting to help others, or you truly believe in what you're doing, if you chase that if that's the passion you're going after, then I think success will follow.
Yep.
So far, that formula has been working very well for me.
Well, because what you're talking about is if you're speaking to an individual who is a potential customer, a potential client, you're not chasing the money that's in their wallet. What you're doing is you're looking for an opportunity to help them with the service that you provide.
Yeah.
Which is a different thing.
Well, and I'll give you a perfect example, and I won't mention my competitor. I was looking at a potential, several $1,000 contract. And when I was talking with the individual, the potential client, I was very honest with them. I said, now here, I'll be the first to tell you, here's the service I provide. However, my competitor over here, they also provide a service that may be beneficial to you. I said, I really think you should look into both of them to see what best suits you. And I remember the guy going, well, but yeah, I'm wanting to use your company. I'm like, well, cool, man, let's sign on the dotted line, but please, you might want to look at them as well. I said, because here are the pros that I think my competitor has. Here are the pros that I have. And I ended up getting the contract.
Well, that
and
level of honesty is kind of, it's hard to find. And when you find it, you don't want to let it just walk out the door.
Yeah, but once again, my passion was to what best helps the client.
Right.
What's going to help them? And I think the better in that particular meeting, I felt the more I could inform them about their choices, the more likely they are to be helped. And so I think that was just an example of I wasn't worried about, if I lose this contract, I could potentially lose this contract to a competitor. And this is the biggest contract I've had so far. If I felt like that, I probably wouldn't have mentioned my competitor.
Right.
Yeah, mentally, you're not chasing the money that's in their wallet. Mentally, you are chasing the opportunity to serve them with the service that you provide.
There you go. I think that's what makes the difference. So
I think that's very
So
important.
what made your success? 'Cause I'll tell the story. Me and you talked about it a little bit before.
Right.
So you're a nationally known company at this point now, nationally certified company.
We mainly focus just in North Carolina because I can't travel that much.
Yeah,
I still work full time. But
you're
yes,
still working.
Yeah.
But you said that you're nationally, but you still work off your kitchen table.
Yeah. I'm still I still work off.
And
my
I think
kitchen
that's
table.
great.
Keep that overhead low.
Yeah, well, that and you can achieve your dreams. You don't have to have a nice office with glass walls and
And I dream about it. Don't get me wrong.
That'd be awesome.
No, but some people that we talk to, because this is what we do. We are the small business superheroes. We do this on a daily basis, and we end up talking to people who feel like it's a barrier to entry.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have an office building. I don't have a warehouse. I don't have this. I don't have that. I don't have a company car. If you have the desire to do it and you have the knowledge that you want to impart or the ability to serve somebody, all you have to do is do that. Yeah. Some people say, well, I want to start a restaurant, but I don't have any money. I don't have a building. I don't have a kitchen. I don't have that. But the whole time they're doing it, they're cooking this delicious meal for the people at the house while they're complaining about how they can't cook. They can't do their cooking thing. Well, you just find out a way to serve people with your passion.
Keep your overhead low at first. There's no doubt about that. And I'd say the bulk of my expense has been really towards marketing services, video and ways to video the class to get the word out. I guess swag.
Yeah, a little bit of swag.
Yeah, that's just the way it is. You really got to get the brand out there, so to speak. We're getting ready to order a bunch of T-shirts to try to get the word, the logo out there, so to speak, and so forth. And so, that's been the biggest expense. But no, when I'm doing my business, I'm literally at the kitchen table with the kids running around hooting and hollering, and I'll put the earbuds in to be able to focus on.
I think the majority of small business people, that's Elon Musk. We talk about Tesla a lot, and Elon Musk a lot.
Oh yeah.
He rented an office space, and him and his brother coded, and they slept at night in the office space, and they coded.
It was the other way around, though.
I did it
backwards.
So
they had a limited amount of money. Okay, we can either rent an apartment or we can rent an office space. We can't have both. But you know what? Let's rent the office space, and we'll just sleep there at night. And so what they would do is the website would be up during the day, and then they would code through most of the night to keep the website updated. They'd sleep for a couple of hours, shower at the YMCA down the street,
Oh,
and
my
then
goodness.
do it all again. During
That's
the day,
it. That's a
while the
passion.
website was
That's a
up,
passion.
It's a passion.
yeah. So during the day, while the website was up, that bed became a futon, and they would have clients, potential clients, come. Okay, this is what we can do. This is our website. This is what's happening. And I mean, you want to talk about, like you said, passion. That is full blown sacrifice for what you want.
Well, then you mentioned something else that brought up that is like know your service. Like he wanted to do rockets after the website.
Right.
Nobody would teach him. So guess what he did?
Oh yeah,
He went and learned that service.
He went and learned it. Yes.
And now he makes rockets.
I mean, who do you know that can say that? Where
I
it's
know.
like, well, okay, so how did you learn rocket science? Oh, I taught myself from a bunch of books I got.
Yeah, I'm just going to go teach myself.
I mean, he's sending people to the space station on a rocket that he built based off of stuff inside of his brain that he got from a book at the library.
Yeah, he put a team
but
together and stuff like that.
But in all honesty, that within my profession of law enforcement, I'll be the first to tell you that there's a lot that most people will not sacrifice their time to read manuals, research their subject matter. So when you, with whatever profession you're in, and you may be seeking to break out and do your own thing,
Right.
that goes to show you have to be willing to go 2 steps further than everybody else.
Oh, yeah.
You've got to be willing to know your product, know your service. Kind of talk the talk and walk the walk. I mean, you've got to have that street cred, so to speak. And I think that's really in any service. I know when my father was doing the trucking business, he knew the mechanics of a truck inside and out. So when he went to talk to potential clients, he could have a conversation with the manager of the business. He could have a conversation with the mechanic on the floor and anywhere in between because he
built that
knew
trust.
it inside and out.
Yeah, and that brand security, brand trust. It's like if you go around selling vacuum cleaners. You know, I need a job, and you're like, hey, what's this part do? I don't know. You plug it in and push this button. You're not going to sell that vacuum cleaner. You know, you're not going to do it. But if you're like, oh, this right here is the internal suction whirlwind. I don't know about vacuum cleaners apparently.
223 cycles per second. Yeah, what's the remember that one vacuum cleaner commercial where they had the bowling ball? It could hold.
Oh, my
put
gosh.
the suction cup on the
Wow,
ball.
I don't
I remember that.
That's going way. No.
Now I'm dating myself.
Listen, my dad was a door-to-door Encyclopedia Britannica salesman.
Holy
The
smokes.
door-to-door encyclopedia salesman. And
What's an encyclopedia?
see, there you go.
I know, right?
Dude, leather-bound Encyclopedia Britannica still on the shelves at his house, and I pop them off the shelves, and it's like, the Soviet Union, and then it's protoplasm, not cytoplasm. But the thing is, to your point, Pop, I used to catch him all the time just reading the encyclopedia.
You got to know what you're talking
You
about.
gotta know what
He
you're
knew
talking
his
about.
product. He knew his product.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
You
That's
know?
it. So,
One of the
Sweet.
smartest men I know. Maybe it was all that reading the encyclopedia.
maybe.
That's
It worked for Elon.
That's why you're the Encyclopedia Barbarian. I call you that because you're smart and you lift weights.
It's
And now your dad sold encyclopedias.
Yeah.
So it makes even more sense.
we
if
always
you're
had him at the
Encyclopedia
house.
Barbarian.
Oh, I wanted to be like my dad, and so like he would read the encyclopedia, and before I got old enough to even know how to read, I would sit there with one open in front of me and turn the pages like he turned.
We got ours from Goodwill, and we was missing Q and S.
I'll see what I can do. I'll see what I can
don't
do.
care now. I got the internet.
I'll see what I can do. I'll get you one.
So, hey, thank you for coming on the show. Anything? Plug
Yes,
yourself.
sir.
Plug yourself right now.
Hey, if you get a chance, go to 360policing.com,
Yeah,
especially
yeah.
if you're in law enforcement. We got lots of great courses for you. Rock and roll.
Right on. Well, thank you so much for getting on the show here, the podcast. Talk about your business. I think it's a great business.
We have been talking about 360 policing, and we've really wanted to get that. Now, his nickname's Captain America. We've been wanting to get Captain America on the show for a while.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So we're glad you were able to
Thank
come
you.
in today.
Glad to be here.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And so thank you for tuning in. AMSDynamics.com. This is the
Small Business Superheroes podcast.
See, I have like mild dyslexia because I want to say
You
backwards
want
every
to say
time.
the Super Small Heroes Business
Oh my
podcast?
gosh, it's horrible, man. I'm so sorry.
AMSDynamics.com. Come check us out. If you need us, reach out, info@AMSDynamics.com.
Hey, thanks for listening. This is Ash.
This is Tiny.
AMSDynamics.com.